The closed tray technique for indexing implants is slightly different to the open tray technique in that the whole tray is enclosed over the component that fits inside and onto the implant. So this usually comes in two parts. It varies from implant manufacturer to implant manufacturer into the techniques that are used, but essentially what we have are two connections. So we'll have a connection that goes on the internal aspect of the implant, and that sits into place passively. There's a sort of usually a clip as it locks into place, but it'll come out as we take the impression away. Not always, but most of the time. And then there's another component that fits over the top of this component. So we have essentially two parts, one that fits into the implant and then one that fits over the top of that. Then we take our impression, so we have our tray, whether that's a custom tray that's been made by the lab to closely fit for our patient, or whether it's a stock tray, checking the size is correct, adhesive, our silicone material, and then we'll take an impression over the top of the components that have been placed in the implant. So the healing abutment will have been removed, the components placed into the implant, and then the impression taken over the top. Once the impression is set, that's then removed, and the components are usually within the impression, and then this is sent to the lab, and they will place an analog, which is a copy of the implant, and then cast that model up, or they'll digitally scan the model and create a digital analog, depending on what the lab's preference and what the clinician's preference is. There are variations on this, which I mentioned earlier, the implant manufacturers produce in terms of the impression indexing jigs. It's straightforward once you have seen the jig and the materials that you're going to be using. I'll show a little video of an example of this type so that you have an understanding of one type, but your representative should come in and show you how your individual type works, or your clinician, your restorative clinician, should be familiar with that and show you how that works.